Welcome all to Mortals Watch the Day, Photography in Liverpool. This session will concentrate on Annie Garvey, sometimes colloquially termed the Pierhead Squatter, but a Liverpool celebrity in her own right. Born in 1804, Annie reputedly came to Liverpool from Ireland with her mother to escape the famines of the 1840s, and she was part of a small community of shanty dwellers that lived in roughly constructed lean-tos near George's Dock Basin, close to the modern day Pierhead. In 1874, Annie removed to a new location near the floating bridge of St George's Landing Stage, and henceforth became a permanent fixture at this location, hawking streetwares and accepting pecuniary assistance from passers-by. Despite many concerted attempts by the Mersey Docks and Harbour Authority to remove her, remarkably she managed to remain in situ for over 40 years, supported in her endeavours to live what she called a simple life by many teams of dock workers and other members of the local waterfront community that came to see her as something of a mother figure as the environment around them began to change. A Liverpool constant, Annie Garvey was a symbol of perseverance in the face of adversity. Liverpool's satirical newspaper The Porcupine first caught up with Annie and her remarkable life story in 1905, noting that when she was born, Britain was at war with France and Nelson had yet to engage in the Battle of Trafalgar. It marked her 102nd birthday in 1906 with a photographic portrait of Annie, who was reportedly much moved by all the fuss that was being made of her, and by the restoration of her wooden shanty by representatives of Dominus Bede Cox of St Mary's Roman Catholic Church, Highfield Street, where she'd been a regular attendee at Mass since 1885. Following the article in the Porcupine, Annie became a regular subject for photographers in Liverpool on the lookout for unusual subjects, hence the current RP Real Photo picture postcard of her published by Harrops Limited of Liverpool in 1907. In this portrait we can see Annie posed smilingly in the doorway of her newly restored shanty, with some of the produce she sold from the windowsill visible through the panes on the right. She's dressed in her best clothes for the occasion, even to the extent that her white linen pinafore looked to have been recently ironed. The portrait captures Annie's much admired friendliness of character without resorting to false sentiment. Evidently lensed in the bright midday sun, the stonework balustrade adjacent to the floating bridge is clearly visible behind Annie's shanty on the left, and adds an unmistakable air of modernity to the scene. The location of Annie's shanty in relation to the floating bridge is most clearly observed in our second photograph, taken by Arthur Priestley in April 1895, so around 12 years earlier than the portrait. This scene, which captures a bustling morning down at the Liverpool docks, shows hundreds of pedestrians using the floating bridge over on the left. Annie Garvey's shanty can be seen to the right of the bridge, hard up against the stonework balustrade near the centre of the composition. Typically for this date, the scene is dominated by the tower of Our Lady in St Nicholas's Church, the so-called Seamen's Church of Liverpool, because it's its close location to the Mersey waterfront. But this would not have been a building of special concern to Annie. A devout Roman Catholic all her life, by the time of Priestley's photograph, Annie's chief place of worship was located in the Vauxhall area of Liverpool, specifically the aforementioned St Mary's Roman Catholic Church. Built in 1845 on St Edmund Street, St Mary's was designed by the renowned neo-Gothic architect Augustus Welby Northmore Pugin. When the area surrounding this original church, which Annie is also known to have attended, was considered crucial for redevelopment in 1883, owing to the expansion of the Exchange railway station, a new site was chosen on Highfield Street, and St Mary's was carefully translated there, brick by brick. The interior of the 1885 reconsecrated church can be seen in our third photograph. This is the glorious plan Gothic site Annie would have been familiar with when attending Mass right up until a few weeks before her death, aged 109, at Brownlow Hill Infirmary on the 4th of June 1914. This incredibly rare photograph may have been authorised by Dominus Bede Cox himself, and it forms part of a small collection of Liverpool gelatin silver prints held by St Mary's Sister Monastery, Downside Abbey in Somerset. Dominus Cox was certainly involved in the authorisation of the taking of our fourth photograph. This is the exterior of St Mary's in 1926, showing the elaborate Gothic bell tower that Dominus Cox had campaigned for several years to raise enough money to complete. What might Annie Garvey have felt had she been able to witness the completion of this magnificent canopy, almost touching heaven by the grace of its height? By this time, of course, Annie Garvey was long gone, but she was still remembered as an exceptional centenarian and as a Liverpool celebrity in her own right. The Harrops picture postcard of her proudly showing off her shanty remained a popular memento and a familiar sight in Liverpool stores until well into the 1930s. And so the unflappable Irish migrant who made a name for herself simply by being true to herself continued to provide an example to all who were oppressed or felt themselves hard done by.